Hello everybody, my name is Aaron. This is a video on how to do the rear wheel bearing on a 2011 Saab 9.5. Not sure what other years this works for, but I just looked it up and I didn't find any videos at all on the internet about it. So this is the 2-liter turbo front wheel drive version. I already took off all the brakes and everything for the caliper bolts. I believe I used a 13mm socket right there, and then the caliper bracket bolts that hold the caliper bracket onto the knuckle. I used a 15mm socket. That is an 18, but I used a 15. It's right here on this wrench. So that's pretty easy. That just comes off, and then there's a bolt or screw holding the rotor itself on. I believe that was a, if I can find the socket, that was a T30, if it'll focus. Yeah, that was a T30 socket I used. Just put a little bit of rust penetrant on it and it'll come. Other than that, that's just the brakes. Now the actual bearing itself. Let me set down my wrench. Got a light. Actual bearing itself, right here. As you can see, this one just does not want to turn very well. The bolts are back here. That's one of the bolts down there. That's a bottom bolt. That's pretty easy to get to. All these bolts will be 18mm. That's the bottom bolt on the bearing. And then to the side, there's another bolt right there. That one was a little bit harder to get to. I had to use a deep socket 18, deep well 18, and a flex end ratchet to get to that. And then this top one right here, it's a little bit more of a pain because you got the sway bar link and the control arm right there in your way. You can't use a socket or anything on this unless someone figures out some way to do that. But what I ended up doing, put the light back. What I ended up using was a 18mm long wrench from Matco. Doesn't matter the brand, but and then slight offset on it. Just poked it through in between the sway bar and where the control arm is. Poked it through this hole. Got it to where the wrench is, kind of in this well right here, this groove in the knuckle, and then took a, where is it? Of course, I'm losing all my stuff for the video. Took a, doesn't really matter the size as long as it's kind of close to the size of the 18mm 3/4 wrench. Just hooked it around this wrench like this. Use that to break it free. And it takes a little bit of force, but you'll be able to get it. Of course, it's easier for me because I get a lift. But yeah, once you break that free and get it all loose, it might take a little while turning and stuff, but it'll come right out. I'm gonna pause the video and then show you if I have to hammer this or not. Probably will, but I don't think you have to unplug any wheel speed sensors or anything like that. So yeah, bit of a complication here. Once you back this bolt out far enough, at least with my wrench, you may not be able to wiggle the thing out again. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do is bring the nut back in slightly, or the bolt back in slightly, and just try it and see if it's finger loose. Because it feels like it's finger loose, but I guess we'll see. So just be wary of that when you're doing this. Alright, I put the bolt back in a little bit, and basically what I ended up having to do is this bolt will be exposed enough where if it's not finger loose, you can just get your box end in there and just crank her. So I'm gonna get this thing out and put it back in. Alright guys, I got the old one out. As you can see, doesn't really move very smooth and sounds pretty bad when you're spinning it around. Had to whack it pretty hard. I work at a shop in Minnesota, so everything's pretty rusty here. This is the new wheel bearing. Looks like they got me the all-wheel drive version 1. I don't know if it's any different, but yeah, I'm gonna go throw that in. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Just got to reverse everything you just did. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope this helps some people. Now that I look closer at the old one, it does look like the all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive versions use the same bearing. So it's a little correction, but yeah.